The lottery is not about getting rich. It's about helping people, and it always has been. The lottery is what helped raise the Great Wall of China, build the roads of Rome, and today, in South Carolina, it's what generates millions of dollars each year for scholarships like the SC Hope, Life, and Palmetto Fellows. The South Carolina Education Lottery is investing in you. Visit sceducationlottery.com/betteryou to learn more.
Hello, it is Ryan, and I was on a flight the other day playing one of my favorite social spin slot games on ChumbaCasino.com. I looked over at the person sitting next to me, and you know what they were doing? They were also playing Chumba Casino. Coincidence? I think not. Everybody's loving having fun with it. Chumba Casino is home to hundreds of casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere, even at 30,000 feet. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com to claim your free welcome bonus. That's ChumbaCasino.com and live the Chumba life.
No purchase necessary. VGW. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
Hey, I'm Don Wildman, and on American History Hit, my expert guests and I journey across the nation and through the years to uncover the stories that have made the United States. From first flight to first ladies, from stitching the Star-Spangled Banner to striking gold in California, to shooting for the moon with Apollo. We've got you covered. Catch new episodes of American History Hit, a podcast by History Hit, every Monday and Thursday wherever you get your podcasts.
5 in a row for Finch, though, right? Well, Minnesota Timberwolves head coach Chris Finch joins 9 to noon on a weekly basis. Wolves off today. They're at Denver tomorrow before they resume. Quite a nice little home stretch. Chance to rattle off some W's for the Howl. Chris Finch, 9:17 segment this morning, podcastable in its entirety with the free iHeartRadio app later. But here's a replay of that conversation. And PA started off things after chatting and joking about some highlights in the game call from Sunday against the Spurs. 5 wins in a row, Coach. That's got to feel pretty good, right?
Yeah, we're playing well. We've been playing well for a while. Even going back before all these injuries, PA, like we've really kind of found a good rhythm with the team. We got a great spirit right now. And through the injuries, the silver lining was these young guys, younger players on the roster really stepped up. Guys like Jaden McDaniels really stepped up as well, and just kept us right in the mix. We were able to tread water just enough so, we can hopefully catch fire here in the last 16 games.
Chris Finch, head coach of the Minnesota Timberwolves, weekly 9 to noon, courtesy of Second Harvest Heartland and twoharvest.org, along with Prize Picks. In the San Antonio game, Chris, how about that ball movement against the Spurs? Seriously, leading to a season-high 141, wide open shots all over the place, and 50% on 42 threes. That was nice.
Yeah, I mean, I think it all started with Anthony and Julius. They set the tone early. They got off the ball. They moved it. We moved ourselves around. I thought we played with great off-ball movement. I said it after the game, aesthetically, if you're just watching basketball, it was probably our best, offensive performance, statistically as well. And the numbers bear it out in a lot of ways. But if we're able to maintain that type of selflessness on and off the ball, we're going to be really, really hard to beat at that end of the floor.
Now, after the game, you made a proclamation. You said something that I don't believe I've heard all year when you said, quote, "They all have bought in," end quote. So all obviously is all encompassing. What does that mean?
Yeah, so I mean, listen, we made the big trade. Everyone knows it, and for a long time this season, beginning of the season, we were all trying to figure out, I think, individually, what the game was going to look like, what the season was going to look like for ourselves. I mean, whether it be, Julius trying to find his role, Dante adjusting to a new team. We have some guys that are on contract years. These are things that are always going on in the background. Anthony's ascension. We don't have Cat now. Like it's quote unquote more Anthony's team. Like playing with him, closing with him. All these things like that you go through in a season, which are just normal, natural dynamics in the NBA on any given year. That's why every 1 year is not the same as the next, even if you have the same roster. You just have guys at different points in their career, different points in their contract, different outside pressures working on them. And of course, you want to try to stem the tide from those pressures affecting you, but human nature is different. And then just learning to play with each other, and then the frustrations that grow with that, and all the anxiety that comes around that, all set against the expectation coming into the season of what we were able to do last year. So I say all that to say, like, we've gone through those growing pains. We've seen other guys step up. We've seen the young guys play. And it started really mid-December when we started to find this rhythm. And I attribute it to a lot of different things, but if I had to attribute to one thing, I would say it's the chemistry between Julius and Nas. Those two guys, when they would come into the game together, really played well off of each other. And that was the thing we had to figure out. It was like how those two were going to play. And then Julius started to have a better chemistry with Rudy, on the back of that. And so that started to generate some really good offense, really good ball movement. And then, because we were struggling to score the ball early, just too much holding, too much ISO, too much your turn, my turn. And so, now I think everybody realizes we're healthy, we are deep, but that's only a benefit if we give ourselves, to the team 100%. And that's what you have to do when you're in playoff mode. And we've entered playoff mode a number of weeks ago.
That answer was spectacular. Thank you very much. The month Julius was out, what if anything was enlightening to him watching from afar?
And it's probably, a question obviously better answered by him, but just, in hearing him talk or answer this question slightly before, I'd say, he realized, what his teammates were capable of, and and with the ball movement, what that looked like, and what he needed to do was to be that connector, and he was, he's come in and done that at a really high level. I mean, last 3 games, he's pretty much flirted with a triple-double every single time. I mean, a rebound or an assist shy of a triple-double.
Right. And I mean, Julius always has been a good passer and always has been a good rebounder.
Yes.
But so, like specifically in the last 5, and you're 5-0 since he returned, what's leading to him to look pass every bit as much as look score?
Well, the ball's in his hands a lot early. I think that's a really important distinction. He's getting the ball early in our offense, whether he's bringing it in transition or we're playing through him at the top of the floor or we're playing through him out of early post-ups. And then he's such a good decision maker. He draws a lot of attention, and he's really done a good job of turning that into wide open shots for his teammates. Shooting 50% from 3 only comes about if you're getting great looks, and you get those great looks when people are making the right play, getting off of it when they're in traffic. And both he and Anthony have done an outstanding job. And I think that's a chemistry that Julius has found a pretty good chemistry with Anthony early on. And I think Anthony now has also discovered a chemistry with Julius where he's like, okay, if I let Julius do some heavy lifting early in the offense, I might be able to benefit from it here. And that's what we see. And Julius is, still has the ability to create his own offense when we need him to.
Right.
But he's just been creating so much offense for his teammates that we haven't really needed him to do it. So.
Chris, how much does it help the overall offense when you start a game like you did the Spurs game, but other places too, with McDaniels leading the scoring punch? I mean, Jaden comes out full of fire and super tenacious and aggressive, and I would imagine the adversary obviously has to respect it, but then how does that play into the overall offense the rest of the game?
Yeah, I think it's really important. As we've seen over the last couple months through all the injuries and when needed Jaden to take this step forward in scoring and just having the ball in his hands more, he's done it. And we thought coming into the season, this is this is going to be his next step. It was a little delayed, and I think it was delayed for all the reasons we talked about with when you asked me the question about being bought in. We had so many other dynamics that we were trying to figure out that, Jaden's next stage of offensive development probably wasn't a priority at that point in time, but through the injury cycle, he had to step up. He was ready to do it. He delivered. So now with everybody coming back, I'm very determined to keep Jaden at the center of what we're doing. So early on in the game, we called his number a few more times than we would have done 2 months ago, just to make sure that, he stays in a good rhythm. He stays as a serious threat. I don't want him to just kind of revert to the fifth option out there.
Here's Chris Finch, coach of the Minnesota Timberwolves. Victoria's 5 consecutive, 16 to go in the season at Denver tomorrow night. And this is courtesy of Second Harvest Heartland, 2harvest.org, and Prize Picks. Mike Conley, his last 3 have looked like last year. What are you seeing?
Yeah, I mean, back to the Julius piece, like he's really benefiting from a lot of Julius kickouts, playing well off of Julius. Those 2 guys have really found a good thing. We need Mike to be aggressive. Like, we've always been a better team when Mike Conley is aggressive, particularly when he comes out in that first 6 minutes to start the game, and he's looking for a shot. He realized now between Ant and Julius with the ball in their hands, his role isn't the classic point guard as much as it used to be. We still need him to do those things and have his pick and roll game with Rudy. But he can now just make shots. I mean, he shoots over 40% from 3, so we got to get him more shots. Julius and Ant have been doing that, and he's been starting fast, and it makes all the difference. It always has.
So, I mean, like moving forward with, we may go 10 deep and everybody has bought in, which I thought was really cool when I heard you say that. That this is a game-by-game situation, obviously, but do you go like the regular 8 deep with the regular 8 and then kind of feel out who's best and why between, say, Clark, Shannon Jr., and Dillingham?
Yep, that's it. I mean, we're pretty committed that we're going to play 9/10 right now. And we have 3 different guys that give us 3 different things. And, that's a luxury now. And we've seen them be able to really help us. So we have every confidence in going whichever way we want to. And maybe in the first half we choose one of them, and in the second half we choose another. And their stint may be 5 or 6 minutes, and it may be 12 or 15 minutes. But, again, it's all part of being bought in right now. I'm sure they're going to want to play more minutes. Everybody wants to play more minutes. They've played more minutes and really produced, but when we're at full strength, we're just not able to play everybody all the minutes that they want to, and that's what being a good teammate is right now. But really bodes well for the future. I'll tell you that. We're excited about what they were able to do and what they will do for us.
As are we. So how did Rudy come out of the Spurs win after missing those 10 games? Was he feeling in tip-top shape the next morning?
Yeah, he looked good. Felt good. I think it's great to have him back. He led us in plus-minus, which always seems to happen somehow. And I think the only thing was just his timing was off. He got a couple early cheap fouls, just, being kind of baited into him with in and around the basket with some pump fakes. But that's probably just a little, eagerness and, timing issues. But that'll fade.
Just a few more here. Loving the chat with Chris Finch, coach of the Minnesota Timberwolves. At Denver tomorrow night, 16 to go. The Wolves have beaten Denver 13 of the last 20, including the playoffs. Jokic had that 30-20-20 within the last week. Holy cow. Only in the NBA ever to do it. He still turns it over a bunch and doesn't hit many threes, but he's on fire right now. Why have you guys had so much success at times against Nikola and his team?
Yeah, I mean, listen, every single time we play them, it feels like we have to solve a different problem. And our guys have been really good at being able to do that. We don't have a one game plan. You just can't play a player like that with one single game plan. We've traditionally had big, a number of skilled, big physical players who we can put on them. Rudy, Cat, Kyle Anderson, Nas, Julius, like even Luca Garza will go out there and bang with them and for 4 or 5 minutes if you need to. So we've had a luxury of just throwing a lot of big bodies at them, which we can try to maybe wear them down over time. And then that's really the best answer I have for you, PA, because he's such an incredible player. I mean, that's that 30, 20, and 20. It's ridiculous if you think about it. He had 2 triple-doubles in the same game.
Right.
And he had the triple-double by the middle of the third quarter. And then he got another one all the way from there through overtime. So it's mind-boggling when you think about these things.
I know, and I know Denver doesn't play today, so therefore it has a day off. You guys have a couple of day offs. Maybe I'm reading into this too much, Coach, but Denver's coming off back-to-back games against Oklahoma City, and those are hard games, as you know. And they just had 2 in a row. They got the money last night and lost on Sunday. Does that factor into the equation tomorrow night?
I'm not sure it does. I mean, I can't speak for them really, but in some ways, all this scheduling takes its toll. I mean, I can only say to you, a week and a half ago or whatever it was, we lost a game in Utah that we probably shouldn't have lost, but you could just tell when we started the game, like we just didn't have the energy. Like there was nothing there.
Right.
And but they'll be up for us. We have such a familiarity with them. It always feels like a big game, oftentimes maybe even bigger than it actually is. But both teams are chasing a lot right now, and I think they'll be ready to go for sure.
And lastly, speaking of chasing, it feels like you've either been tied with or a half game behind Golden State for like a month trying to get out of that play-in clipping penalty. You've won 5 in a row. They've won 5 in a row. I mean, ever since Jimmy Butler joined the Warriors, he's good. He's really good. But they're proving to be tough to catch, right?
Yeah, they're a good team. They got a lot. They got veterans. Adding Jimmy was, didn't necessarily think it was the perfect piece at the time, but watching him play, it might be the perfect move, for those guys. But there's always a lot of twists and turns down the stretch in these seasons. Unexpected things happen. So it's really hard to predict. We just got to focus on keep playing well, keep pushing hard. Our guys, like I said, have done a good job of entering playoff mode early. And, I think that's resulted in games like you see the other night with the way that we played. We just have to keep repeating that as many times as we possibly can.
My man, great seeing you on Sunday night. Congratulations on the season high and the 5 in a row. Safe travels to the Mile High City, and we'll chat soon, okay?
Hey, appreciate it. And great having you on board the other day. I didn't get to hear it, but talking to you, it sounded like you had a lot of fun. So we appreciate that.
Yeah, it fit perfectly. I loved it. And there was so much support from Timberwolves staff, Sarah Perez, Aaron Freeman. I mean, it just goes so deep, man. But thank you very much for the time and the encouragement that day. And best of luck in Denver, okay?
All right, take care, PA. Thanks.
That's head coach Chris Finch with PA, a weekly affair. Minnesota Timberwolves at Denver tomorrow night. Looking forward to that. Looking forward to the final segment at 9 to noon as we continue this free agent frenzy with the Minnesota Vikings, the NFL, where things are lined up. Got some of your talkbacks to play as well. Final segment, 9 to noon around the corner.
Hello, it is Ryan, and I was on a flight the other day playing one of my favorite social spin slot games on ChumbaCasino.com. I looked over at the person sitting next to me, and you know what they were doing? They were also playing Chumba Casino. Coincidence? I think not. Everybody's loving having fun with it. Chumba Casino is home to hundreds of casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere, even at 30,000 feet. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com to claim your free welcome bonus. That's ChumbaCasino.com and live the Chumba life.
No purchase necessary. VGW. Void were prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
Hey, Paul Nordo. I'll admit I had my doubts about Kwesi, but he is cooking. Jonathan Allen, Will Fries, Ryan Kelly. Are you kidding me? Man, let's go out there and draft some studs in April, and let's go win ourselves a Super Bowl.
Thanks for the talkbacks. More tomorrow. Appreciate that. Listen to the tone in that young man's voice. And we heard it earlier in the show. with the free agency scenario, which began Sunday with the Minnesota Vikings retaining the services of Aaron Jones for a couple of years, then through punter Ryan Wright. Well, then, it just exploded with Isaiah Rodgers, a corner from Philadelphia, and all the way through Indianapolis Colts center Ryan Kelly. And then Jonathan Allen, defensive tackle, Washington, now here, really under the cover of darkness. It took place last night, early this morning. Then this morning alone, the Vikings attained the services of Will Fries, a 6'6", 315-ish pound guard from the Indianapolis Colts. So Ryan Kelly and Fries, a couple of former Colts, come to the Minnesota Vikings via free agency. And you hear the tones of the voices. And that's what happens when you hit free agency the way the Minnesota Vikings hit free agency last year. Because when we ran the talkback machine last year, hey, Jonathan Grenard, Blake Cashman, Eden Prairie High School go crazy, Andrew Van Ginkel, Aaron Jones. People, knew who Aaron Jones was because of the divisional rivalry. But there wasn't as much pop or joy in the voices because of we need to see.
Yeah.
Well, now they saw. So therefore, like I said with O'Connell and those quarterbacks, the general manager, Kwesi Adofo-Mensah, and his staff, they're getting the benefit of the doubt, or they're getting the benefit of the doubt or praise with free agents until proven otherwise.
Yeah.
Because, not many of us are, we're watching Ryan Kelly and or Will Fries, Isaiah Rodgers, maybe even Jonathan Allen. We ain't watching them super close.
Right.
But there's a perception portion of the equation that to a certain extent needs to be satiated or requires satiating for the fan base. People have players they want. They read things online. They learn things about players. They follow this team closely. They know it well. They know it smell. And then therefore they're like, okay, I watched this happen. I'm not all 22 guy. I'm not Pro Football Focus guy. I just know getting pushed back 6 yards on a play you need on third down is not cool. So I'd like them to get this. Then they get that, and the fan base becomes happy. But it's a perception that matters when it comes to from a fan standpoint, this part of the process. We mentioned perceived because that's what it is. Our perception of media reports as to who they are in on, right. Maybe where they got beat, or maybe where they're beaten teams, and what should have been done based off emotions. The emotions generally are predicated off players we want and don't get, so that leads to frustration. But it doesn't mean the team necessarily wanted those players as much as we or the fans. And the frustration is based off perception, like DJ Reed was the best corner available. I then wonder why the oft-injured Carlton Davis got more money than DJ Reed when Carlton went to New England. And I didn't realize that was the case until I was listening to you and Sauce last night, and you brought it up.
Yeah, the three at 16 apiece was kind of that was shocking in some ways to me.
Right,
DJ Reed to Detroit versus Carlton, 20 apiece in New England.
Right now, this is, I don't like to go down this road often because it's hard to figure out. This whole thing is complicated. Okay, well, I guarantee you there are people either here or around the league who think Carlton Davis is better than DJ Reed.
Yeah.
But because Daniel Jeremiah, .com Tom, or Mel Kiper list Reed as the number one corner, the perception is we get married to that.
Correct, yeah.
And finally, the contractual numbers, we've mentioned this repeatedly, is what we're seeing. It's not the real money numbers that insiders and like Florio examine. So often all that's gold ain't exactly glittering. But I think the overarcher here is what happened in free agency last year kind of gave a lean that the general manager from a stock market background is really good at certain things that it takes to close deals like this.
Yep.
And I think it's amplified again this year. And now we play the games and we see where the old chips fall.
Ryan Seacrest here. When you have a busy schedule, it's important to maximize your downtime. One of the best ways to do that is by going to ChumbaCasino.com. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino games like spin slots, bingo, and solitaire that you can play for free for a chance to redeem some serious prizes. So hop on to ChumbaCasino.com now and live the Chumba life. Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
I can't wait until tomorrow.
No love for my Golden State Warriors?
Yeah, plenty of love for your Golden State Warriors. Dark man, they never lose. And our beloved Hal trying to run down those Warriors, get out of this play-in clipping penalty. The Warriors beat Portland last night, I think by 10. Timberwolves at Denver tomorrow night. 13-7 against the Nuggets over the last 20. That includes the playoffs, 9-4 in the regular season. Wild take on the Avalanche this evening on KFAN at 7 o'clock. And more free agent frenzy and frivolity tomorrow, 9 to noon, because tomorrow, that's when players get cut before the league year begins, which means Javon Hargrave, who's a defensive tackle who played with the Steelers, the Eagles, and the 49ers, there are reports that he's a veteran. I mean, I think he came into the league in like 2016 or 17. He's been around for a while. Very, very tough guy. That the Minnesota Vikings could sign Javon Hargrave. That's a defensive lineman to join the likes of Harrison Phillips and new defensive lineman Jonathan Allen. So that's when things percolate with Cooper Kupp, wide receiver for the LA Rams. Les Snead, their general manager, had an interview either at the Combine, something I heard over the weekend, where Les Snead, the general manager, basically made it sound like the best option for all of us here is that Cooper Kupp's going to be released or traded. So we'll keep our ears out for that. But with Javon Hargrave in closing, his nickname is the Grave Digger, which makes the person calling the games Paul Bearer Allen, ready to call a bunch of grave-digging sacks, led by Javon Hargrave. But that's for tomorrow because that's not done. Justin Fields, 2 years and $40 million by the Jets. That astounds me. I mean, he's a one-read guy.
I saw it was 30 guaranteed, too. Yeah.
I mean, he doesn't have a swivel. We've said that 8 million times, so best of luck to them. But anyway, thank you very much for listening to 9 to Noon today. We had a great time. Hopefully you did, too. Myriad talkbacks tomorrow to formulate your thought and share it at FM 100.3, KFAN. Alec Lewis from The Athletic joins tomorrow. Mike Florio joins tomorrow, and much more with Nordo and yours truly. I am Paul Allen. Thank you for listening to a Talker Tuesday at FM 100.3 KFAN. Now, here comes Big Daddy Khan to put a wrap on the show.
Good stuff. Just listen.
Attention span less than that of Gen Z. Getting impatient, lack of free agent frenzy. And then last night, as we all went down to sleep, the news was scant and barely a peep. But then we woke up to X-bombs from the Schefters and the rap sheets and the .com toms. Skol Bama. Welcome Jonathan Allen, and we're drinking purple Kool-Aid, man, by the gallon. But wait, man, this team's not done. O-line wants to get in on this Tuesday morning fun. Maybe it was Grigson or Kelly, Indy Colts ties. McQuasey goes 5-88 for Will Fries. Like Minnesota weather from nothing to flurries. On paper, the team got much better in a hurry. Hargrave tomorrow waiting for contract text. Another corner, another guard. We got cash. Who's next?
Can I get a working cell phone number for Bubba Bolden?
Bubba!
Podcast today's Paul Allen Show, or listen back to previous show and interviews by going to the iHeartRadio app or KFAN.com.
One lottery ticket makes a big difference for our state students. And when I say big, I mean bigger than jackpot big. Since 2002, South Carolina students have benefited from more than $6 billion in lottery-funded scholarships and grants, including the Life, Hope, and Palmetto Fellow Scholarships. With every lottery play, you're supporting our students, and that adds up in a big way. That's why education is our middle name. Learn more at sceducationlottery.com/betteryou.
Step into the world of power, loyalty, and luck.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
With family, cannolis, and spins mean everything.
Now, you wanna get mixed up in the family business.
Introducing The Godfather at ChumbaCasino.com. Test your luck in the shadowy world of The Godfather slot.
Someday, I will call upon you to do a service for me.
Play The Godfather, now at ChumbaCasino.com.
Welcome to the family.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Your stomach is a mess and you feel lousy. Something is just off, but you don't know what. Yeah, we get it. You've tried every fad diet and supplement under the sun, and none of it worked. Here's the truth. Your gut's a mess, and your body is letting you know. You're just too busy, and you ignore the signs, making it worse. Viome gets straight to the point, analyzing your gut microbiome to give you a personalized health plan that actually works. Your gut is how your body processes everything that you consume. Stop ignoring the signs. It's time to do something real. Get Viome and fix your gut now. Dial ***GUT to get $110 off any test. That's **488 to receive a link to the offer.